What's up, dudes and dudes to the internet? My name's Seth, and we are back here for some more Trove Adventure update. This update is going to be coming out live November 14th, but in the meantime, we're on the test server, so I'm stocking up on footage and showing you all sneak peeks of everything that's coming out. So today we're going to be looking at the new Chaos Crafter costumes, which there's not really going to be that many of them, but when this update comes out, we're going to get 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. And some of them are actually really, really cool. This is one for the Boomeranger, which kind of makes him dino themed. It's pretty neat. He kind of looks a little bit more like a Viking as well, which I think that's really cool, really suits the character. And if we throw down our Bach Bomb right here, you can see that the chickens are going to be like these weird dino chickens. I don't know. The ultimate, I don't know whether or not that's going to end up changing into anything. It seemed like the pot was a little bit different, but honestly speaking, I don't really main the Boomer, so I don't really know that much that's different. So anyways, if we go to the expired costume, this is going to be the next one for the Boomeranger. He's going to have a bow style, which I don't really know if I have a bow. Let me actually see if my Shadowhunter has one. Ignore the spoilers of that new costume right there. We'll look at that in a minute, because if we grab this bow right here, haha, I mean, it's kind of on fire, so it kind of blocks it off. But we got this skeleton costume, which of course would look a lot better if we didn't end up having a human head. Like, seriously. I don't think it's going to have any unique video effects or anything like that, but it still is very, very neat. Even throwing our Boomerang just looked like it was just the standard one. I remember seeing this on the forums though, and the costume actually looked really, really cool, because the original costume, as far as I remember, had a cape and everything like that. Now he's just kind of got a skull on his back, which it's still neat. It still works. And then the chickens are going to be the big highlight, because they're going to be weird skeleton chickens, which don't even look right, but they kind of look cool at the same time. That was really, really neat. We actually ended up throwing the undead crafting bench, and then a whole bunch of like skeletal cages ended up showing up. So like that was actually pretty cool for the video effects. It ended up putting a lot more effort into it than most of the other costumes. Then we've got, okay, Chloromancer is up next. So we got this bee costume, which is kind of disgusting, but for those of you that like bees, you know, it kind of makes us look like a superhero. It's kind of neat, and it's going to change all the video effects to being yellow and having bee video effects and everything like that. We throw down the plants, which is going to end up looking very unique and cool. So you know, already a little bit better than the Vandy costumes, that's for sure. But seriously, whatever. That's still a really cool costume. Not really my favorite, because yellow is not my favorite color. But then we got the Wildflower Warlock. This one I think is going to end up being a big fan favorite, because man alive, look at this. We actually make our Chloromancer look really, really swag, dude. Like, we look very, very powerful. We look very, very deadly. There's no staff with it, unfortunately. The video effects are going to be a nice coolish purple color, and then if we throw down our plants, they're going to end up being different as well. They're kind of these weird diamond things. I don't really know what they are, but still, it does look very, very neat and very interesting. Okay, what else did we have over here? What was the other ones? Because that's already the Chloromancer out of the way. No, I don't want collectibles. Then there's going to be, oh, the Dino Tamer. So we got the green Power Ranger costume for the Dino Tamer, which is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I don't even know. Like, I remember seeing this on the mod forums and thinking, like, really? That's getting added to the game? Which, don't get me wrong, it's cool, but it's like really, really weird for the Dino Tamer. I mean, somebody, you know, out there is gonna love it. I loved the Green Ranger, so I am a fan of it, even though I just don't really play the Dino Tamer that often. But the net, oh man, look at that. That looks so good, dude. And the dinosaurs themselves are pretty different and unique. They kind of look very similar to what they already did, but they're kind of like just more armored and robotic themed. So it's still pretty neat that they ended up changing it. And we're actually shooting laser video effects out of our dino right here. So that's really, really neat as well. And then, you know, we're going to have electric effects when we actually have our net down on the ground. So let's take a peek. What else is there? I think the next one up is, yeah, so we got the Gunslinger right here, which is going to be a bubble themed costume. This one's actually really neat because it changes all of the video effects, and also, by the way, just a heads up, the bubbles that are around my character and the bee effects that were around my character's head and everything like that, those are just stellar auras. They don't come with the costume. But this is going to be kind of a water gun type of character, or a bubble character. Reminds me of a Mega Man character, which is really neat. And we're going to have like all bubbles and water video effects and stuff. Our charge shot is going to be really cool. And then when this update ends up hitting, which is absolutely awesome, they changed it so that your ultimate with your class gem ability is going to actually be affected by what your right click is. So we actually are going to be shooting flaming bubbles and have all the water and bubble video effects when we end up actually using our costume ability. So that's absolutely awesome. And then one of the costumes that I did a review on a very, very long time ago, back when I used to do mod reviews, is the Fortress costume for the Lunar Lancer. Now, this one's a big fan favorite, dude. Everyone's really pumped that this one actually ended up getting into the game. I don't really have my sound up very loud, but from what I hear, a lot of the sound effects of the attacks on this costume are going to be kind of like the sound of fire and stuff like that, which is really, really neat and unique, just because the fact that, let me get my Chloromancer emblem right here, just so I can show you the ultimate is absolutely pristine, dude. Like, it looks so beautiful, most of all because it's using the new fire video effects, but it's actually got its own unique video effects in general. That stream already looks really, really good, and look at that. Like, doesn't that just look great? A nice stream of fire coming down and just annihilating everything makes me want another character that focuses more on fire, like the Draco, but using the new video effects instead of the old gross ones. So, of course, also, you're going to combine with Fortress very well. It's pretty much like you're getting a piggyback ride from your father or something. Then we've also got the Pirate Captain. Yeah, he's got a weird costume, which is very cool, because I love the whole steampunk like robot thing. He definitely feels intimidating, but the colors themselves, from my personal taste, are very washed out, considering like how colorful Trove is in general. And just for myself personally, I feel that this is one of those costumes I know people are gonna be a fan of and someone's gonna like, because of the fact that it's very unique. Like, these fixtures and things that we're throwing on the ground, like our turrets and everything like that, personally, I'm not really a fan of them, just because of the fact that it's like so overboard, you know? But I know that for that very reason, someone's really gonna be into it. Like, even the ult right there, that's pretty darn cool that it's kind of got spider legs. Makes me wish that it would actually roam around and follow you around, though, instead of just not doing anything. Oh, and then we've got the Shadowhunter. So let me get the bow off of my boomer here. This costume is absolutely amazing. I wish that I had a good set of physical gems on the live server, because I would go back for the Shadowhunter just for this. Ignore the flaming bow. That's a radiant style, radiant aura. And then the glowing stars that we have around our head is a stellar aura from Mastery as well. But the costume is absolutely amazing. As far as I know, that's because of one of my mods is conflicting, but that means that it's actually using the default #1. So we're actually not throwing down anything unique. Our ult isn't different or anything like that, and of course our class gem ability isn't different, but it doesn't have to be, because all of the normal video effects of the Shadowhunter fit so well with this radiant themed costume. I absolutely love it. It's pretty much my favorite Shadowhunter costume, right next to the aimbot costume. Like, seriously, doesn't it just look beautiful? And it just makes you want to main the character, just because you feel powerful. You feel like you're at the end game with this, you know, because that's kind of the whole thing about these costumes that I feel they should do. And this is so awesome. So we got a Gundam costume for the Revenant. It's about time that the Revenant had a costume that wasn't just brown. Like, seriously, look at this thing. It looks great. The spear looks awesome. The shield, not to mention, I was a huge Gundam fan. I never even got through the entire anime because it was just on at such weird times. That was before the internet was around, kids, so you had to try and catch every single episode whenever it was on cable, but we just ignored any of that. The video effects do change for your right click, which means that your subclass ability is going to end up changing as well, so you don't get to just look at the same stupid smoke video effects of everything. Your #1 is going to change as well, and kind of just going to be spikes rather than spears coming out of your character, and your ultimate is going to change as well. Yes! Isn't that beautiful, dude? Oh, it looks so good. I mean, of course, that's the same video effects taken from the Candy Barb, but scaled to like 11, right? Not to mention it's blue, which blue is like a fantastic color for costumes and stuff. And then I think that should be all of it outside of the Tomb Raiser right down here. I'll also show you the crafting components for each of these costumes in 2 seconds before I forget. But this is actually a surprisingly really good costume for the Tomb Raiser, dude. Like, it's absolutely awesome. Makes him feel Radiant themed and end game. Like, the Tomb Raiser doesn't have a costume like this, which is most of all why I love these costumes, because they're very unique and very different. They actually added costumes where you can be different than all of the other ones, just kind of feeling like the same old, you know? And then this one goes the extra mile, by also changing your minions, which they look really cool as just little skeletal radiant warriors. But then your ultimate also looks so cool, dude. Like, seriously, I don't know whether or not that's a throwback to Leoric or something, but it just looks great. And I like how they ended up changing his shoulder pads to be like his extra arms to be like shoulder pads and stuff to kind of give him a more unique style, rather than it just being like some four-armed freak or whatever amount of arms he normally has. But anyways, let's take a peek at the crafting components here. Whoopsie daisy, that's the wrong table. So some of these are going to be quite expensive, but some of them are going to be pretty cheap. So we got the Beast Battler for the Boomeranger, which is of course going to end up being more meteorite fragments. I mean, seriously, the amount of meteorite fragments that is required in this game for all these costumes and mounts and everything is absolutely insane. 50,000 flux, mushroom chunks, enchanted wood, not too bad. The meteorite fragments and the flux is going to be the big one. Then we got this bone costume, which of course, bleach bone, 25 somber souls, which is a bit difficult if you're just grinding it, but otherwise if you can just buy it, it's not really that much of a problem. The Hive Costume is going to end up being 3,000 sunlight bulbs, which shouldn't be much of a problem for most players because we've all, excuse me, pardon me, sorry about that. Water went down the wrong tube and then I had a weird inverted burp. But the sunlight bulbs shouldn't be too much of a problem because you're going to end up having a lot of it just because of the floral dragon that we've all been grinding, but then the rich fertilizer is going to be a little bit time consuming rather than difficult, and then the Fey Dust, who cares? Then we've got the other Chloromancer costume, which is going to be 900 Isaac Cthulhu, which shouldn't be a problem, and then 35 Somber Souls, so more Somber Souls that you're going to have to grind out, if not buy them, and then a Heart of Darkness, oddly enough. Then the Power Ranger costume is going to be 50 more Meteorite Fragment, like seriously, that is a resource that is used all too often. 400 bottles, which is easy. 150 blank scrolls is going to be quite difficult for starting players, but again, you know, these aren't supposed to be starting player costumes. The bubble costume is going to be 2,500 glacial shards, which again shouldn't be a problem if you're farming for the ice dragon. Then there's going to be 600 golden seashells, 30 golden souls, which is a bit steep, but granted, when this update ends up coming out, golden souls are actually a lot more common, so keep that in mind. Then there's going to be the Fortress costume, which is 300 Robo Salvage, 600 Infinium Ore, 1,000 Eyes. Overall, it's actually a very, very cheap costume. Most people can afford this, no problem. Then there's going to be the Pirate Captain costume, which is going to be more gold seashells, 650 Primordial Flames, which is pretty crazy, and then another 600 Robo Salvage. So again, taking into account the price of all of these costumes at once is kind of what I like to do, and that's where we're starting to see like Robo Salvage, Meteor, and stuff like that. So then we've got the costume for the Shadowhunter, which is 2,500 Radiant Shards, more Golden Souls, jeez Louise, and then 120 diamonds, oddly enough. But again, a relatively cheap costume. It's not really that much of a problem, especially considering how beautiful it is. The Revenant costume, 700 more robotic salvage. And then just for kicks, even though it makes absolutely no sense to the costume, 65 meteorite fragments. Like, yikes, dude. I mean, I'm assuming it's because it's like, oh, it's supposed to be a space costume. Meteorite comes from outer space. But 65, like, that's pretty nuts, dude. Either way, very cool costume, to say the least. It's definitely better than Super Magical, and Super Magical is 200k for some dumb reason. Then we got the Boomeranger costume, last but not least, for 5,500 at Shaped Stone, which is cheap. 2,000 Radiant Shards, which is, you know, time-consuming. It's not difficult. And then Golden Souls, another 30 Golden Souls, but overall, another very cheap costume. So absolutely awesome suits that ended up getting added to the game. Again, this is all going to end up coming out November 14th. If anything ends up changing, of course, I'll have an updated video, but for the most part, I just wanted to show you all what each of the costumes were and how you can actually attain them. They're absolutely awesome. You know, some of them are just fantastic. Like, seriously, this is my favorite Boomeranger costume. The other costume for the Shadowhunter is right beside the aimbot, which is another fan favorite of mine. Not a fan favorite, but it kind of is a fan favorite too. Everybody loves that costume. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. Very much appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe for more daily content, as well as building up loyalty points for my merch store. Links are in the description for that. Sign over and stay. Have a good everybody.